The role of the air traffic control system is to keep aircraft safely separated from each other and from hazards such as mountains and bad weather, and also to keep them out of restricted areas such as around the White House or airspace where military maneuvers are taking place. This is a big job considering that every day there's more than 40,000 flights over the US. Air traffic controllers are at the heart of the air traffic control system. The process starts with air traffic controllers who are aware of the aircraft location and planned route. Once they know that, the controllers determine what is needed to maintain safe separation. The controllers then provide those instructions, called clearances, often by radio, to the cockpit crew. You've probably heard phrases such as "you're cleared for takeoff" or "you're cleared to land on runway 180. These are examples of clearances, but besides these takeoff and landing clearances, clearances also cover aircraft's route, speed, heading, and altitude. Each air traffic controller is responsible for a certain area or airspace. As a flight reaches the edge of the airspace, the controller coordinates with the controller of the adjacent airspace to hand off the flight. The cockpit crew then contacts and gets instructions from the next controller down the line. This process starts when a flight is at the gate before takeoff and continues until the aircraft has arrived and parked at the gate of its destination. There are different types of air traffic control facilities. Each controls a different type of airspace. When most people think of air traffic control, they usually think of the air traffic control tower. These are typically high towers with windows all around. When controllers are doing their job, they might be looking out the window or looking at computer screens. They're often speaking with the cockpit crews by radio. But control towers only control the airspace about 5 miles away from the airport. The next type of air traffic control facility is called the TRACON, which stands for Terminal Radar Approach Control. TRACONs exist around most major US cities and control an area that's about 50 miles in diameter. Unlike the towers, TRACONs are windowless facilities, and controllers work in front of computer displays and also talk to the cockpit crew by radio. The third type of air traffic control facility is called the en route center. There are 20 en route centers in the US. Each en route center could be hundreds of miles wide. The en route centers handle the flights at their cruising altitude. Like TRACONs, they're also windowless facilities typically, and controllers also work in front of computer displays and talk to the cockpit crew by radio. On a long flight, the vast majority of the flight time is spent within the en route center airspace. Knowing where an aircraft is known as surveillance. There's 4 types of surveillance. First is having radars on the ground, where the radars rotate and see the aircraft every 5 to 12 seconds. Another method is called ADS-B. In ADS-B, avionics on the aircraft broadcast the position, and radio receivers on the ground forward the position to air traffic control facilities. ADS-B position reports may be received as often as once per second. The third type of surveillance is satellite surveillance, or data link. With satellite surveillance on board the aircraft, there's avionics that broadcast the position, and the position reports by radio are received by satellites, and these signals are then flown to air traffic control facilities. Satellite surveillance might provide position reports as often as once per minute. The last type of surveillance is via radio. Pilots report their position using high-frequency radio to radio stations that are in remote locations, for example on islands in the ocean. The radio operators then relay the positions to the air traffic control facilities. Radio reports may be done only as infrequently as every 10 or 20 minutes. How far apart the aircraft are separated depends to a large extent on how accurate and how often the aircraft position reports are being received. When over land and being tracked by radar or ADS-B, where updates are received every few seconds, separation can be as little as 3 or 5 nautical miles. But when over the ocean, where position reports are received only every 20 minutes or so, separation could be as great as 30 or 50 nautical miles. Hopefully this gives you a little more insight into air traffic control, and the next time you're taking a flight, you can appreciate all the controllers and the system whose mission is to keep you safe.